Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. So I just wanted to pop this video out. I don't think it's going to be incredibly long, but I wanted to have a little bit of a conversation as I stand here in a field of wheat in FS22 and reminisce back and think about where we're at now that we're in essence nearing the halfway point. If everything stays the same and Giants does its normal pace, we're in about a year and a half, they're going to start to ask us to start thinking about yet another farming simulator. So we're about a year and a half since the release, not quite, because it was released on November 22nd, I believe, of 2021. So we've got maybe another month and a half or two till we really are at that middle point. But my challenges are, while the game has certainly gotten better and we've gotten a lot of mods, there are some key things that were starting to prove the concerns I had as I was speculating over what new versions would create and what might happen, namely that there are going to be things we're used to in FS19 that we've come to rely on, that we actually enjoy, that may never return. So for me, there's a couple things that stick out. For you, I'm thinking there may be a different list. These may be included, but there may be other things that you enjoyed that weren't top on my list. So certainly would love to hear down below what people feel are mods that they haven't seen, and now that we're a year and a half in, are starting to either think or speculate like we're never going to see these things ever again. So for me, one of the biggest things is the additional crops and the additional root crops. Now, while we've seen a few things appear, such as alfalfa and things like that folks have done on the maps, what I'm talking about are things like onions and carrots, and then the harvesters that went with them, where I could have a root crop harvester that would harvest all my root crops. I wouldn't need one for beets and potatoes. I could use one for every root crop, and so I could really focus on being a root crop farmer if I'd wanted, and plant a field of onions, a field of carrots, a field of potatoes, a field of beets, a field of lettuce, and go ahead and harvest those and run my farm that way. And we've lost that with the change into FS22. The other thing that really sticks out to me is crop rotation that we had with the Seasons mod, which was not included with the incorporated seasons that Giants put into FS22, and for which no one has created a mod to recreate that. So the mechanic that introduced, which helped establish a lot of realism, is you couldn't plant soybean after soybean or oat after oat, or in this case wheat after wheat, without a hit to your yield, which does mimic real farming. Now, some may argue, well, they didn't like that and so forth. Well, I do understand that, and as I said, that's why I'm encouraging folks to comment down below. What are the things that you loved in FS19 that haven't returned yet in FS22? I'd love to have that discussion down below. But really the point of making this, aside from pointing out those two examples, and I'm sure that there are others as well, as we'll see as people start to comment, is, was this really worth it? Was bringing us through a forced change to a game where arguably everything that we've been given could have been done with enhancements? I mean, look at what they've done with the Platinum expansion, for example, and all the things that they've added into the game with that. That was an expansion. It didn't require a new game. So it leans toward my point of, I really hope Giants stops releasing brand new versions every 3 years and just continues expanding and finds some way to monetize that expansion, whether it's the season passes that they're doing to require people to get access to it. And I understand there's some issues perhaps with console, where if console players don't get a new game, they may not stick around as long because they don't have all the other mods available to them that we do on the PCs. Another thing that comes to mind, for example, is there was a really nice TMR mixer in FS19 that would output 90,000 liters at a time and was very compact. Almost every farmer in FSN used it all the time, and it was excellent, and we've never seen anything like that. The closest we've got is a much smaller, much more difficult to use as far as being able to get different types of equipment into it, TMR Mixer, that does about 44,000. That's the type of thing that I think we're starting to see actual fruits of. As modders move on, the folks who made those mods may not be playing the game anymore. That may be why the mods haven't returned. Or they simply look at it and say, I'm not going to build it again. I'm not going to spend all that time to basically recreate the wheel. I already built it once. If you want to use it, go back and play in FS19. It's what they're saying. So as I kind of think back through this, kind of at this mid-year checkpoint, I'm still in the same place I was as we were approaching the release of FS22, where I'm going to plead once again with Giants to please, please not drive us to an FS25. Find a way to continue FS22 so that we can stop going through the same type of thing and be sitting here a year and a half after the game release lamenting what we're missing. Love to hear from you below. Love to hear if you agree. Love to hear if you disagree, and why, of course. This is a great thing to have a dialogue about, so I look forward to some great comments down below, and I'll see you next time.